Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm going to go over Ethereum price action and the current targets for the week that I'll be looking for. I'm going to make it pretty short and sweet, probably under 10 minutes here. I think that's been a good time frame to go off of the last few weeks for these morning updates. Went over a pretty good amount of altcoins in the members only market update last night in the group. So if you're in the group, be sure to tune into that. It is under the live recordings. But yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it. So, new week, new levels, right? So, we had a pretty uneventful weekend, and one thing, that you can kind of see as you're looking at this, area here, is that if anyone was looking at this in any kind of form or fashion of a triangle, you would have got this nice, at the time viewed as a fake out, but you got a nice little break, right? Ran it up, comes up, takes the high, and then we came all the way back right into that triangle. A lot of times we see this happen, and it's really important, in my opinion, to have other areas of confluence. It's not to say that triangles and patterns obviously don't work, but it's just interesting to know where to consider taking profits, and other than just kind of waiting for that break and then running up to whatever. I think everybody's really targeting like 2,600 to 3K for ETH, potentially at least. I do think that we have a chance to get there over time, over the next few months to weeks to months. But I do think that a pretty decent pullback is due also in the near future. So just kind of want to keep our eyes and ears open for that scenario. Now, last week and for 4 months, going from the beginning of the year, we were looking to the yearly pivot here as a major target. As we came into it, this was our previous year average price, and we did actually meet that last week. One thing I was anticipating was if we didn't come through this level and claim it, we'd get a decent little pull. Not really too big, actually. This was only about a 7% pullback, which is sizable, but we did not get that, right? We were looking for two things. It was either get a reaction, a rejection up here at this level and look to come back to the March 23 high, or if we were to claim this region, the next target was the next box, right? And as you can see here, we obviously claimed it very, very nicely, right? Got a couple wicks through, pushed above, and perfect reclaim. Claim, I guess you could say, on the way up. We didn't even come and sweep past down below the level at all. So just a straight up, really nice SR flip, higher low here, and away we went. So the next big area was to be looking above us at that 2155 into the 2200. Obviously, it doesn't have to be perfect there. And I would effectively say we've come up and just about met that target here. However, what we did do on this run up here, we had this, just front run. You see this quite often where you'll come up and you'll front run a major level. You'll kind of get everybody really loading up some shorts, and you get some nice short-term plays here. And then we'd come up and you actually take the high, swing failure pattern right here at the top here. Come back down, close below the level, and now we're going to be interested to see if we actually come down a little bit more. For me, coming down back to the 12M pivot, right? The yearly pivot is definitely not out of the question. It's not necessarily super far away from us at the moment, and it's an area I won't be overlooking if we did come down to it. It's only about a 4.5% drop from where we are now. Would make this little pullback about that 7 to 8%, something similar to what we were looking at last week. If we were to get it at this level and looking back down to the March 23 high. But yeah, for today, right, looking at things in a little bit of smaller time frame, we do have our previous day range, right, which comes in like this. We're spending a lot of time here at the low. I guess you could look at this as a little head and shoulders if you like, but if you lose the value area low, we're going to head down to the new weekly pivot down here, untapped. It's about $2,037. do have a not on there. There we go. Very small little local gold pocket all the way back up here. It's at the daily open. It's at the previous day value area high as well. So very, quite possible to flip the VWAP, see a move up into this region, and then all we're doing is rotating the range. We do need to get out of this region to continue onward and upward. Otherwise, I would anticipate just another rotation back down to the low. And like I said, if we do start coming down and losing this level, previous day low here, next targets below us are going to be that weekly pivot and then back to the yearly pivot. All right, 1989. I discussed this idea pretty heavily last night that when looking at ETH, still I'm targeting up into this region in the short term, and then I think we'd get a pretty sizable pullback. But that's yet to be seen at the moment. You do know that we still have our untapped monthly pivot way down here at 1690. Doesn't have to be met, but this is a really big landing zone if we start to make our way down. Monthly pivot, quarterly pivot, previous month open, and the quarterly point of control for Q1 all reside in this little $50 window here. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see this on here because I got this really small. Okay, we can do this. The biggest thing about this 12M is when looking at ETH as a potential Adam and Eve double bottom, right? Which we were looking for quite some time to kind of come into. A measured move on this move, if anybody's looking at this to trade it like a breakout pattern, which I have to imagine many would take you up to like $3,000, right? And like I said, I actually lean towards that we'd probably see these levels here, but it's unlikely that we wouldn't get a pullback first. So that's just how I'm playing it at the moment. Not just assuming we're going to go straight up. There's a big gap. Many are calling this a gap in volume, whatever you want to call it, but this is one of those moves where we came down really fast, and more than likely we're going to come right back up through it really fast. The thing is, I just don't know if we're going to clear through this region. I know it's getting really muddy over here because I had to zoom out for this example, but I don't think we're going to get through this big area in one shot. That is yet to be seen, of course. So, I could be very much wrong on that, but that's what I'll be looking for, is to come up into that 2200 and potentially come all the way back down to the monthly pivot, but we'll see how it plays out. The reason I really like this idea at the moment is, once again, just looking at it from the entire market. 12M pivot, say we come up or come down from where we are now, and we get that pullback like we were just discussing, about 7-8% total from the current high, and we come back and we find support right here. This, I think, would get everybody very excited. 2K is that big level, that big psychological level. Everybody be, really excited to see that hold as support. It's gonna, essentially be a retest, right, of this breakout for this Adam and Eve double bottom. And if we start climbing higher, I think everybody's going to get really, really excited, looking for about 3K. Overlooking this area, I think, is not a great idea at the moment. But we'll see how it plays out. That is how I'm looking for it right now. Like I said, we're, obviously we're due for a decent pullback, even since the last rally, the last beginning of this rally, I guess you could say, when we had the pretty sizable pullback in March. Trying to make this as viewable, right here, right? So from that pullback down in the gold pocket, up to where we are now, I believe that's about a 55% move. 56. So in the region between where we are now and say we hit the untapped monthly up here, about 55-60%. And if we were to see a move even from where we are now slowly down to that monthly pivot here, that's about a 20-25% drop, which is sizable. At the same time, the uptrend overall would not be in jeopardy. It'd still be making higher lows, higher highs. It's just something that I just really want to make everyone aware of. And the invalidation of that, of course, is to come up and claim that $2,200 level. From there, then hey, we're going to just straight shoot up to whatever But yeah, some pretty big targets have been met. Some pretty big targets above us as well are coming in. It's pretty much just been straight up only. And I think everybody's getting very, very, impatient for one, and bullish, like overly bullish in the short term. Where, like I said, even myself, I do anticipate seeing higher levels, but a pullback first, I think would make a lot of sense. We'll see how it all plays out, of course. And I think that's about all I got. Let's we're gonna take a look at the previous week range, which kind of aligns well with this um, pullback scenario if we get it. Been spending a lot of time, basically up here at the high. Like I said, we came up here and swung, failed the was this Friday's high? Yeah, right at the end or middle day Sunday yesterday. Came back, and if we start living back within this previous range here, which is just below us, 2090 is really the level to kind of beat. Get that back test here. Easy target right down to the weekly pivot. Obviously, we lose that, and then you got the 12M. And for this, in theory, you'd really be targeting all the way back down your point of control. We've got our, March 23 Q1 high all the way down here at the Val. But I really wouldn't overlook this region for the reasons I just gave before. It's a yearly average as well. Very, very, very high support and resistance level to, not we don't just cut through them often. And B, it would make a lot of sense to get people excited. I'm just thinking that's a straight psychology idea, I guess, for the market. But that Adam and Eve double bottom retest comes in right at the neckline, right at the 12M. So I wouldn't overlook that, and we'll see how it goes from there. Otherwise, start piecemealing some more upside ideas. It's clear the daily open, which today is 2,120. Obviously, we've got our current high here. And then for me, it's really taken over this untapped monthly pivot, come up and claim that, and then we're up to the upside. From the current high, that's approximately, it's not very far, right? It's about 2.5% from where we are right now. It's about 5%. So we're kind of in this little limbo area where you can see a 5 to 7% move down, 5 to 7% move up. So I guess playing accordingly in that sense. But yeah, the 12M haven't even come back to it either. So that kind of makes some sense to come back and get a little back test on it, get some support, start building out some volume here. Got no volume basically, well, really for this whole week. But yeah, so weekly pivot, statistical target for the week, high hit rate that we're coming back to at least here this week sometime. And then, yeah, let's not forget our monthly pivot all the way down here. Is that the previous week low? No. Yeah, I just didn't move it. Okay. I was going to say that's interesting. But yeah, let's not forget about the monthly pivot down here. And let's turn that off. And the quarterly 1623. So just kind of keep them on your mind. But that's all I got. I try to keep it 13 minutes. I went over. But I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. And until next time, everybody, cheers.